Hey everyone, this is Austin Sher here with We Write About Music, and today I'm so happy to be speaking with Matt and Albie of the Sky Juice Duo. They've got a brand new record on their hands. It's called Dope Folk, and I'm super excited to talk to them all about it. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having us as well.
Yeah, just waking up.
Yeah, I was
Coffee's
gonna
kick.
say it is
Coffee's
Yeah,
good.
currently 4 p.m. on Sunday in Los Angeles, but 9 a.m. in Sydney, I think you're in.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's
What?
not too bad.
No, not too bad. What's going on that side of the world?
Well, it's a cloudy, rainy day, unfortunately, on the island
Right.
here. But yeah, just really started the day, so I can't say much for this morning.
That's cool.
Yeah,
No
we
worries.
were talking about that this morning. It's just like, around on the merry-go-round, another Monday, where did the weekend go? Back into your normal. But we're talking to you this morning, and that's a good highlight for us today.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think it's the perfect way to start your week. So I want to get right into it. Listen, this record's been out for a little bit here. I've had the opportunity to not only review it, but to listen to it multiple times. It is
Unreal.
so damn good. I just want to get that out in the open. I know you know that, but for everyone else, this record is fantastic. I want to start a little bit about your guys' relationship and sort of collaboration on this record. Who takes charge of what, and how did it all come together?
Yeah, it goes back a bit. Albie came for guitar lessons when she was about 14 or
Yeah,
15.
super young.
Yeah, and then it wasn't too far into that, we started leaning towards, playing our own kind of music and, doing
Singing and
doing lots of covers for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then one day, Albie, I think maybe around 15 years old, said, "Oh, do you reckon we could start playing shows, like doing live gigs?" And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
so that was 5 or 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
6 years ago now. So long time.
And
Wow.
we'd be in breweries and pubs and clubs and like in Australia the rule is you have to have a responsible adult if
Yeah,
you're if you're with a minor.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
So I guess I mean I don't know how, but I was the responsible adult.
Yeah, technically responsible,
Yeah,
technically an
yeah.
adult. So,
Chaperone. Yeah, and
Exactly.
then slowly but surely when, like we had to get a live show together, so that was, three sets of, obviously we didn't have all the originals then, so it was a blend of covers, and then that's when we started, saying, okay, well, let's write our own, and away we went.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. Listen, this record it's 12 songs and 50 minutes long, and I feel like nowadays everyone is so focused on the hit single, the single that's, not necessarily better than the rest of the record, but just the thing that stands out to bring you to the album. But in this album in particular, you've really created the experience. And I feel that that's something that is unfortunately becoming a lost art nowadays. What was sort of the blueprint of putting this thing together to kind of create one singular vibe going from start to finish?
Honestly, I think that kind of happened accidentally or naturally. I mean, it was not necessarily an intention, I think, for every song to be the way it was. I think that's just how they happened. Like, we didn't really go into it going, like, no, one of these are gonna be a hit, or this is the best one. I think every single song that we make just has an intention to be like a good song or just how we want it to be. So, it kind of just
It grew
happened
that
that
way,
way.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was it was like we worked on every song without thinking of the other songs because that was just what we were doing at the moment. But
Mm,
by default, that just blended really well. By the
Sure.
time we went, oh, that's going to sound really good on the back of that. And it was really evident when we were putting the track list together because then I started realizing, wow, this really connects well. This jigsaw puzzle's coming
Really
together really
does.
nicely. And then it's exactly like you're saying, like you said that pretty quickly in the review that it felt like a journey. Like the whole thing was, like one thing. And that's a good point about the hit single and not just going for the sugar sweet thing and letting the whole thing be an experience because that is kind of like what albums used to be like. It was sort of like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was the artist, that's creating that for the listener, not the record company going, this track should be first and this
absolutely.
get rid of that one. That's too,
Right.
we
Yeah.
got accused ages ago of being ballad heavy.
Mm.
Okay.
You know, like the
Sure.
beautiful, dark, you know, acoustic harmonized songs that we both love. Like we're both real
Mm.
acoustic nuts, you know, we just love two chords and a steel string guitar, you know.
Sure.
But we took that as a compliment, you know, we're like,
Absolutely.
yeah, because
It
we
is a
like
compliment.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, good stuff, you know, because we don't want to do the sugar sweet thing. Like, it's funny conversation because recently Albie's was a solo musician in the ski season in Japan in a place called Hakuba. And all of a sudden she had to go flip to the other side where she had to have all the songs for entertaining
Mm.
the
Right.
crowd, you
The
know.
opposite side of it, yeah.
So we understand that that's there and that, you know, and even when we play live now, you know, nobody like it's only our real close friends and followers that know when we're playing one of our songs that turn around and clap and give us a holler, you know. The
Sure.
rest of the time we're playing, you know, what most other, you know, covers people are playing. But, you know, we're really happy to do that because I think one of the things that you learn when you are playing live is that you're an entertainer. Like
Right.
first
At the end of the
first and
day.
foremost, you know, and if you're lucky enough to break through with your own stuff and, you know, build that kind of following, that you know that's really inspiring. But that's a big journey for most musicians to transition from doing what we do as live entertainers to like having people come just for our music, our original music. You know, it would be great to eventually get there, but in the meantime, you know, we're just happy, you know, making our productions in the studio. It's just a little recording studio in my house on this island on in Pittwater. And just, you know, by coincidence, Albie lives down the road, so to speak, you know. And that's what's been really good about it. You know, even when COVID was on, we're still like, oh yeah, but we can still, you know, get into the studio and make music, you know.
Right.
So that's really been convenient, but it's also been, you know, really, it's been magical because as we've tried different things, because I sort of have an electronic background with my music.
Sure.
And so when you take the acoustic stuff and then say, okay, well, what can we put behind that? You know, what can we build that out with? What can we layer that with? We've both been really into that and keeping our ears on it and making sure Albie's been really good with like, you know, like keeping that under control.
Sure.
Because I'll put,
Saying no to things.
yeah, like,
Well,
and
that's the
being,
most important part of a collaboration right
I
there
think
is
so.
like one
Yeah,
person can't
listen,
steamroll the other person because you think you have the best idea.
yeah, and
I think we're good at that,
I
of just
think
going
we've
like,
worked it
okay.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've worked it out. We've definitely had, you know, heated discussions about something that should stay in there and something that shouldn't. But then you just got to have the ears to listen to the other side and go, oh, you know, I see what you're saying. That's crowding out whatever here. And then the other good thing about that is you learn not to be too precious about your own ideas and contributions.
Absolutely.
And you know, because that thing may pop up somewhere else. You might be able to use that synth pattern or that drum program or whatever, you know, that weird sound. You might be able to use it somewhere down the line. It always stays in the library, but it's a matter of just getting that song to breathe and to work properly. And then, so I guess it's a full circle answer because eventually all those songs just seem to join together really well, you know, like, and we had some really different ones in there. I think at one stage, Albie really loved this song of mine, which was just the rhythm section that we built out called Jangle Man.
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
And and that song is, you know, that's as close to as electro as, you know, that's got that kind of like drive and that, you know, that those layers that we're talking about. Lo-fi,
Mm,
you know, vocals through a Fender amplifier, which, you know, Albie was like, that's got to be the sound.
yeah.
And actually,
Insistent.
we had an hysterical story about that. I was wondering how good AI was at writing song lyrics.
Not
You know,
great, but
just,
it depends.
just as a, you know, test to see what it was all
Sure,
about. So
sure.
I asked AI, you know, who's the Jangle Man, you know? And AI came back with this pretty good, you know, oh, he's the keeper of keys and he's like holds everybody's secrets. I'm thinking, wow, you know.
Funny.
And I'm trying to find my lyrics, my poem for the
Yeah.
song on a piece of paper. Like it's the opposite. I'm looking for the old analog copy in a
Right.
expanding file. Albie's already got the lyrics on her phone, and she's already singing onto the recording with the AI lyrics. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta find I gotta find these lyrics. I gotta get them now,
Exactly.
you know. And it was sounding really good because she had the melody. She got the melody happening. We didn't have the melody for the song. And there she is just spruiking with this, awesome kind of barnyard rap,
Love
And
that.
I found the lyrics and I was like, put that AI
There we
thing
go.
away. And it was like, oh, I hope this works. I was half expecting to go, no, you keep yours. I like that. No. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. And listen, I kind of want to go back to something you were saying about your, the genre and the genre influence because uh obviously there's so much going on in this record style wise and the things that you're hearing and I even feel that the record sort of shape shifts throughout the listen. So I guess how are you explaining this to people when they ask what kind of record you made? Because it's a difficult answer and there doesn't need to be a right answer, but I guess what's sort of the elevator pitch for it?
Right. Well, I feel like after listening to all of it and creating it, we realized it wasn't really an obvious genre that the whole album fit into. So we kind of came up with one ourselves, which is why the album is called Dope Folk, because it
Yes,
was
there you
kind of a
go.
mixture
That all
between,
ties back.
yeah,
I
right,
love
like
that.
folk music with, we have a lot of inspiration from guitar ballads, like acoustic guitar melodies and picking guitar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we've got all the influence from like the kind of electronic, doped out sound.
Yeah.
So we put those together, but yeah, and then we came up with that album name, but also
It does
the idea
help.
of the
And it
genre.
is it is like setting people up, like that album name, because we were thinking, yeah, we could call it, Blue Water, Headland, whatever, like
Sure.
anything was similar to what our inspirations are. But it was like, oh, but that's just letting people know what they're in for. It's
Mm.
like this is folk music, but it's not traditional folk music.
Right.
And it has been really hard. I use Submit Hub a little bit to
Yeah.
you know,
Get an idea.
to get tracks on playlists, which we've been going okay with. But that's been the hardest thing, is working out what genre it is. And then when you think you've got it dialed in, you pitch it to someone, as a playlist curator. And they're like, no, that's not down tempo or whatever, So it's been really hard
Yeah.
to slot the music. It's a bit harder than if we were just playing traditional music, then it'd be pretty straightforward.
Right.
We
Well,
get we
yeah.
get we get neo soul, we get electronic, we get folkatronic, we get all these different genres. So it's kind of hard to settle the whole thing as one style. So I think dope folk just helps deliver it a little bit to people's imaginations.
No, I think that's a great answer, even though sometimes there isn't an answer. I I think we're
True.
so far along in terms of like what we can do with technology and production that people aren't just making rock music anymore or your standard folk music. Everything has become this kind of blend and mix of everything. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a way of doing it correctly and a way of overdoing it. And it's why I gravitated to this record and why I've listened to it so many times is
Yeah.
because it really does it gives you so many ideas and styles without overdoing it and it gives you enough to come back to. For me, the songs were never necessarily immediate, but they like tickled something in my brain that let me know to come back because there was probably something I was missing. And
We love you.
yeah, I mean, I'm not just saying that to blow up your ego. I sincerely do mean that I love this record.
Oh no, but
So
it's yeah, it's great that
yeah,
that you're getting it, because
yeah,
that's the best thing you can tell us, because it's like you're hearing it, you're climbing inside. I
yeah.
think I responded to the review in an email, and I was just saying, man, I'm not going to sleep tonight because
Right, right.
yeah, well,
And I appreciate that. Makes me feel
because it's
so
like,
good
man,
too.
like you seem to have just got every part of it, and that was a really, really complimentary, and it was like just getting that recognition that the work that you're doing, because that not everybody's going to get it, they're not going to kind of understand what's going down, and
Right.
then you also get a bit of that along the way, so you're not sure if you're doing the right thing, but we stuck to doing it the way we want to do it without letting too much outside, interference. But I mean, at the same time, we got a lot of good response as we were going along. But to get your overall, analysis of the whole project was just, yeah, that was mind blowing, man. It was
Nice.
great.
I really appreciate that. It makes me wonder because especially in a duo, you two have lived different lives in different eras, and you have different, I assume, different influences on what you listen to. Are there maybe specific albums or artists that you were sort of channeling or that you brought in when you started creating this record that you're like, I want to do something in a similar vein to that, but I also want to do something original?
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like whenever we get inspired, it's usually from like a really specific niche song that we both are listening to at
Sure.
the
Oh, okay, okay.
like I don't know, would you say?
I reckon a good example to answer that question would be Teardrop by Massive Attack.
Oh,
Oh
so
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's sort of my era as far as electronic music goes. So
Sure.
I was making my original career as an electronic artist exactly the same time when Massive Attack and the Chemical Brothers and all those people. But Albie loves, and I love too,
Oh
Jose
yeah.
Gonzalez.
Okay.
Jose.
The nylon string folk singing,
Nice.
soloist. And he
Mm.
does a version of Teardrop. So we thought, oh, well,
Okay.
let's play that song. We both love it as an acoustic song, but we wouldn't mind doing a bit of a Massive Attack kind of thing on it. And I had a Roland SP 808, which is a sampler that
Sweet.
has a theremin beam, like
Sweet.
a
Yeah.
velocity sensitive beam. So we loaded up a synth sound and put Alvy in front of it to play like this, eerie kind of like siren through the whole thing.
Sure.
And then we ended up starting it in a key that was too hot, was really high for Albie, but she was making it, and it made it really interesting because it was
Oh
almost
yeah.
now operatic, like it was so beautiful and high. And I can remember in the video clip, she kept looking at me like, is this working sort of thing? And I'm like, holy hell, like,
It's working.
yeah. So that's it.
Right.
We fleshed that out. We took those two genres. We took all those ideas. We played it as a standalone acoustic version, just two guitars with the picking and just very, very sparse and simple. But then there's the introduction of the layers, and I'm sure people would have gone, "What's going on here?" Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's interesting. That's fun to do, and that sort of answers the question about how our tastes join. I don't think there's many songs that you've played me that I haven't liked. In
Yeah,
terms of
sure.
what you're listening to on Spotify, I think it's more the other way around. I play a lot of stuff, and now it's like, oh, I'm not sure about that one.
That's all
And
right.
that's probably
Everyone has their own
just
taste.
because, yeah, but that's probably just because I've gotten attached to it. I've got more years on it, so I've got a lot more time to get attached to things. And so, like I
Right.
was saying before, I'm holding that song precious. What do you mean you don't like that?
Exactly.
It's
And
unreal,
listen, I think nostalgia plays a huge part in the music that we like. We
Yeah.
all have our favorite albums that we grew up with, and sometimes you revisit them and oh, maybe it's not as good as I thought it was, but it holds a place in my
Yeah,
heart because I listened to it during high school or with friends or whatever it is. So I
yeah,
I
that's
understand.
true.
I think at the
Yeah,
end of the day, though, obviously the vast differences between you two, you still manage to find this amazing middle ground in the things that you like. And then again,
yeah,
going back to like working as a duo and making music that you come together on and agree on is such an amazing thing because it's just difficult to make music and just be in agreement on certain things.
yeah, very true. Getting
Yeah,
things over the line. Like starting
right.
starting an idea and then
Yeah,
actually getting it all the way across the line.
right.
Um, and we do get a bit of satisfaction. We sort of had a loose rule. I mean, it's sort of gone out the window now that whatever we record in the studio, we should be able to play it live.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, we definitely can't
And
do
I,
that
and
Yeah,
now.
well, I think
I
I
get
think
it.
there's
It's
only
tough
like
though.
yeah, there's only a couple that we couldn't do live. We would definitely need
Yeah.
Ableton and a laptop and a
Yeah,
keyboard. But
Jangle Man was
yeah, Jangle Man would be
definitely.
terrific. Good.
right.
Yeah.
But we still take a lot of these songs as just, the duo into the restaurants and the breweries and we do it. So
Hell
and
yeah.
some of the early ones on the first album that we did, which is probably only 9 or 10 originals, but they're so comfortable to play now. They're like a favorite jacket or an old t-shirt or something. You just lock into it, and it doesn't matter if we haven't play for a while, it just comes up and you don't even look at each other and they just flow really well. So the advantage of that is of having this collaboration is that you're just incredibly comfortable with each other. And then, that you can sort of read each other in that way, that sonic sort of way. It's almost like a bit of a telepathy. And that happens in the studio. Like, we just get on with doing what we're doing and, it just seems to flow really well. There's no kind of like unproductive times, it's like we don't get together a hell of a lot. Like we don't roll up to the studio every day. It's really just it's an injection of only a few hours a week. Like seriously, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, editing and whatever, but the actual creation side of it is incredibly productive. We just get into it and then hash it out, and all of a sudden there it is, and then all we got to do is come back, do the next take, and then it gets refined that way.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from both of you on this individually. What do you think the most important piece of gear is to yourselves when coming to record?
Oh, I don't know. That's difficult. Obviously, the guitar, but I feel like that one's so obvious you can't really say it.
Well, I mean, that wasn't like a trick question. Like, if it's the guitar, it's the guitar.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a bit of an evolution with that too, from the first guitar, the black one.
Yeah, well, it started with like the Maiden Performer, which was like solid guitar, but recently upgraded. I don't even know what my guitar is called now.
It's a Taylor.
Oh yeah, but what's the
nice.
model? I have no idea.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like the base of every single song that we make is a guitar, and it always starts from like a melody or just like a couple of chords or a picking pattern. So that is, there's guitar in every single song, so it has to be.
I'm with you. I'm the same answer because we put a lot of time into making the splits of the guitar picking, and that's something that takes a bit of time to get it to work. Like I'll play a riff and then Albie's playing the harmony on every one of those notes, so going to a different place. And that's so satisfying to do because, I mean, it's not that you don't hear it a lot I'm not going to say that you don't hear it much anymore. A lot of people are doing it. There's a lot of, fantastic folk players and a lot of, people that have stuck with that kind of Americana style guitar playing. But it gives you a lot of satisfaction. And then when I get it into the computer, then the wah-wah pedal comes out, and then this is my augmented answer. and then you're in the software and you're treating it with reverbs and delays and things like that. So
reversing it
and
it actually comes up a lot in the songs, the reverse electric guitar riff.
Little things that have been.
We don't realize that's what it is because they sound so different. But
so I think it's an organic answer for you, Austin, that turns into like an electronic answer, because we do a lot of that sampling. There's a funny one on a film clip that we did where, because I noticed Albie cracks her knuckles all the time.
Same.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's record that. So we recorded it and then we loaded it onto the Ableton push machine, which is like a 64 trigger, beautiful German bit of hardware that hangs off Ableton software. And we put it all across there with different pitches on it, and we played like a knuckle solo. So
that's really funny.
So everything like that is in, like I think on one of the songs on Dope Folk, I was listening in the car the other day. Every time I'm driving in a different car, I listen to it on their stereo,
Yeah. You have to.
Hack into their Bluetooth,
Yeah.
And then I noticed, like, what's that sound? This beautiful, like, air releasing sound. And I remember the sitting on the chairs.
Oh,
and when
jeez.
it bursts out like this air sound.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful sound because it was sort of a soft sound. It wasn't a harsh sound. So even that has been interesting because Albie's pretty good with qualifying electronic sounds as well, especially with percussion, like, oh, that's irritating, or there's too much of that. So that's the answer. I think we both love guitars as the first thing. Guitars and singing,
Yeah,
I've had to sort of keep up with Albie a little bit in that department. I'm a singer, but I'm not. I mean, I sing in bands because I've developed my voice over the years. And when I
sure.
first started singing, people were like, "Oh, you got a voice like a bucket of gravel or something."
Oh, stop.
But
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 it
but
evolves. I
I
understand.
know
Yeah.
it evolves, and
Yeah,
now I know I've got a really strong voice, and I can project, and that's my talent. I'm a
right.
powerful singer. But when Albie, when we started recording with Albie's beautiful voice, then I would have to do harmonies, either recording them or live, even scarier.
Sure.
So yeah, that's been quite a journey, learning because you tend to want to go towards the lead note, if she's singing a
Yeah.
certain one, and now all of a sudden you've got to risk yourself into a PA system in front of people and go to a note that you're not used to singing. So for me, that's another bit of the answer is the voices, and seeing how they've, well, for me, evolved, but also the way Albie interpretates stuff. Like
Right, right,
I
right.
like Jangle Man is a perfect example, as many other songs are, like where we actually don't have the melody yet. We've got the guitar and the picking, and then we're like sitting there going, well, microphones are on, what do you think? And I'll try a little riff or I'll sing something, and then, more often than not, Albie will just get it going in the headphones, and then, something will happen. We might have just a cluster of words, but
Yeah.
it's not really about the words at that stage. It's more about finding how it's going to,
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a long
Fantastic
answer.
answer. No, it's okay. It's a great answer. Listen though, I've basically got one more question for you, and the question is for anyone that is going to discover you from this interview or podcast or reading the article or whatever, what is sort of an opening message that you'd like to say to them before they listen to the record for the first time?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know. Maybe I would just say that they should just give it a chance and not, you know, don't stop listening to the song just, 10 seconds in, or the album one or
Yeah,
two songs in. Like,
Right.
give it
that
more of a
happens so
chance,
much.
because it's not the same going all the way through, as we talked about. So
Yeah,
if you were to listen to the first song and then go like, I don't like it, then you're not giving it a real opportunity, because the next song is so different, and then the next song is so different. So
exactly.
you just give it a chance, listen to quite a bit of it before you make your mind up.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
Good
that going
idea.
on, isn't there, where people are just overfed with music and they're just flicking
Yeah.
through it really quickly and they're not letting it settle down and they're not having that experience. And that's sort of been my observation of the music industry at the moment. Like years ago, you'd find the music and your brother had a record, your sister had a record, and you got into it, and then you'd follow up on the artist and buy their stuff, go to their shows. Whereas now it seems it's the other way around. It's the musicians that are trying to get in front of all the people to
Right.
get an audience, and they're oversaturated. They're just like, oh yeah, I got this, I got that. That there's no connection. They haven't sort of invested in the music in any way. So it's all very just like, transient. They just can flick through it. So I agree with that too, because I have a saying that I put on the end of a lot of my posts, which is cheers for your ears. And
Yes.
and I kind of really mean that, because they're just like, if they've listened to it enough and got what we're trying to do, then more often than not, that would be a great thing, that if they can do that for us, then we'll do what we can do, to get them to have a good experience for sure.
I fully agree. And listen, like I've said, and I'll say it again, it is fully an album that deserves an uninterrupted front to back listen. Like, you're going to experience a lot of different things, but I think at the end of the day, you really have delivered on that experience where it's like, don't listen to it on shuffle. Don't listen to the first 30 seconds and make up your mind. Let it breathe, go through it, absorb the whole thing, and then go back for more, because there's really just so much going on.
Yeah, thanks, Austin. I remember, I think twice in your review, you said you got to get a pair of headphones on.
You really,
Yeah.
because people
And
listen out of their phones or their
yeah,
laptops, and it's like, no, like,
and I
I
knew,
hate
I
it so
knew,
much.
I knew when you said that you would be tuning into all those little subtle layers and
Absolutely. It's the
what's
most
over on the
important part of a
left and what's on
record.
the right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
fabulous.
Well, listen, Matt and Albie, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you, even with the time zone change of doing this. It means so much to me. Before we wrap up, though, please let me plug everything once again. So, if you didn't know, if you've made it this far in the interview, I'm speaking with Sky Juice Duo. The record is called Dope Folk. The review is already out, but we're gonna bump it back up, so it'll have all the links that you can
That's great.
listen and share and follow along, and obviously stay tuned for more. And again, sincerely, this was awesome. It's so nice to talk to people who actually just you take pride in what you're doing and it comes off so easily. So I appreciate you.
No, of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the interview as well. I mean, it
Yeah,
was like,
a two-way street for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
first
Listen,
time.
yeah, so much fun. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you
All
so much.
Champion.
right, take care. See you later.
You
Bye
go.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.